Greetings to you all from Fatou once again. And today we're at the Atlantic Hotel to be in attendance of the Constitutional Review Commission press conference. Well, we're going to take you right to the press conference and hope that you learn a lot from what they have to say.
As is clearly articulated in Section 6 of the CRC Act, the mandate of the Commission is to draft a new constitution for the Republic of the Gambia and to prepare a report in relation to the draft constitution. In discharging this function, the Commission is to be guided by the principles outlined in the CRC Act. The constitutional review process will be an inclusive one designed to ensure that every Gambian and any other person who can bring value to the constitution-making process has the opportunity to do so. The Commission is tasked with the responsibility to draft a new constitution, and by so doing to review the 1997 Constitution, seek the opinions of all Gambian citizens at home and abroad through consultations, make appropriate proposals, and draft within a period of 18 months a new constitution that will stand the test of time. We recognize and appreciate that this is no mean task, but it is one we are committed to and will work towards in achieving for our country and indeed for all Gambians. To that effect, the Commission has engaged in a wide range of issues related to logistics, such as the establishment of the Secretariat, development of a work plan for the Commission, mapping out a communication strategy, developing modalities for public consultations with various stakeholders, developing a monitoring and evaluation strategy, as well as other relevant aspects that will enrich the process to make it inclusive for all layers of Gambian society. The Commission's administrative office is the Secretariat, which is headed by the Secretary, who is responsible for its administration and for arranging and facilitating the business of the Commission and its technical committees as and when they are established pursuant to the CRC Act. Other staff of the Secretariat will be appointed to assist the work of the Commission. The expected outcomes of the Commission's work are twofold. Firstly, a draft constitution to be presented to the President of the Republic. And secondly, a report in relation to the draft constitution, which will include the processes adopted by the Commission in developing the new constitution and the rationale for the provisions enshrined in the constitution. In terms of scope of work, it is encouraging to note that since the appointment of the 11 members of the Commission on Friday, June 1st, 2018, and their subsequent swearing into office on Monday, 4th June 2018 at State House by His Excellency the President, Adama Barrow, the members of the Commission hit the ground running and launched a number of processes. The Commission is in the process of setting up a permanent secretariat, which we expect to be speeded up as soon as suitable premises are identified. The Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, after consulting with the CRC chairperson, has appointed the Secretary to the Commission in the name of Omar Usman Job, our chair for this afternoon. Additional staff will be recruited to support the work of the Commission. Thus far, the Commission has held 9 sittings, coupled with the development of key strategic documents which should guide the constitutional review process. To date, the Commission has developed a number of protocols that will guide its work and facilitate the execution of the entire constitutional review process. These include 1, a detailed action plan for the period June 2018 to November 2019. 2, a detailed work plan. 3, a budget. 4, a guide for the development of a communications and media strategy. 5, an interim communications and media plan. 6, a public consultation strategy, which will include in-country public consultations and external consultations. 7, a guide for public consultations, and 8, a monitoring and evaluation strategy. All these documents were developed by the members of the Commission and were considered, approved, and adopted by the full membership of the Commission. However, work is in progress for the development of a research and documentation strategy. Like any new endeavor, there are bound to be some initial challenges. But these challenges are surmountable and indeed may be viewed as part of the overall process of constitutional reform. These challenges may be characterized as follows. Firstly, the Secretariat. The Commission, with the able assistance and partnership of the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice and his staff, is still searching for a permanent office space to ensure the independence of the Commission and a better facilitation of the Commission's work. Establishment of a permanent Secretariat, accessibility by members of the public to the Commission, and adequate space for consultations and meetings as required. Tied to this is the recruitment of staff to support the work of the Commission. Secondly, financial independence. Pursuant to the CRC Act, the funds of the Commission are to consist of monies appropriated to the Commission by the National Assembly and donations received from any lawful source approved by the Minister. The Commission is in regular dialogue with the Attorney General's Chambers and Ministry of Justice to see to the establishment of an independent CRC bank account. Considering the short window of 18 months within which we are to deliver on our mandate, it is crucial that the Commission's work is not hampered by unnecessary bureaucratic processes and procedures which have the potential to slow down the progress of our work. This is not only recognized by the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, he is also working feverishly to ensure the objective of financial independence and a better facilitation of the work of the Commission. And for that, my colleague commissioners and I are truly grateful. And thirdly, resources. Financial resources will be one of the biggest challenges the Commission will have to grapple with in order to carry out interface consultations with the Gambian public, both at home and abroad. The time frame for the consultations is from October 2018 to June 2019. We would therefore like to solicit the cooperation of the media in particular and the citizenry in general to help us meet this target. We will create different avenues for Gambians to get involved in the process, including through a Commission's website we expect to establish in due course. In conclusion, the Commission wishes to reiterate the following to the Gambian public. First, the Commission is independent and does not represent any particular interest group. All the members of the Commission recognize that the objective we are embarked upon is a national one, and it is one in which all interests have to be received and considered in accordance with the guiding principles enshrined in the CRC Act. Second, the constitutional review process will be open, transparent, and impartial, and will give an opportunity to all strata of Gambian society at home and abroad to contribute to the process. Third, the Commission will receive and review recommendations that will emanate from the consultation process, which in turn will inform the conclusions that the Commission will arrive at. Finally, the Commission wishes to solicit the support of all Gambians to ensure that the process is guided by the principles of participation, inclusiveness, representation, transparency, and national ownership, the end product of which will be a sound constitution which reflects the collective values, beliefs, and aspirations of all Gambians. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you sincerely for honoring this press conference. The Commission looks forward to more interactions with you in the future And indeed, as our moderator indicated earlier on, this is just one in a series, and we expect to keep you updated as we move progressively in executing our assignment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jalo. My name is Fatou and I'm from Fatou. We spoke about ownership and we mentioned about consultations with NGOs and creating a website. However, how do you intend to include those who cannot read or write by going to the website and would like to be part of this? What mechanisms do you have in place to make sure that you seek their opinions?
Thank you very much, Fatou. As you can see, we've already taken that on board. What has partly delayed the process of identifying premises is to find location that is accessible to everybody, because we don't want any issue about not being accessible to the Commission. That is important. We will give every specific group in the country that has the interest, the opportunity to interact with us. We will take on board certainly what you have said. In fact, it's part of what we have been discussing to see how, for example, part of what we discuss is to have a face-to-face dialogue with NGOs. Tango is the representative body, but we recognize at the same time that there are specific bodies within Tango that we must meet specifically with, to give them that opportunity. For example, the Federation of, the Gambia Federation of Disabled Persons is one we have identified to specifically meet with. So we have taken on board these issues. Obviously, we are still at the stage, we are discussing the modalities of how we can do it in an effective, efficient manner. And as we go along, obviously, we are open to ideas. And having said that, I think what we will also welcome from the media, and we will not see it as any form of negative criticism, is to how you think we can best improve our systems, our processes, because that is always helpful. It's one thing to lead, but it's another thing to make sure that we listen. And part of the listening process is to benefit from ideas in order to make what you have better. So we are certainly concentrating on that as well. But the independence of the Commission and who is bankrolling the Act. The Act is very, who is bankrolling the Commission. The Act is very clear in terms of where we get our funding. It's funds appropriated by the National Assembly, which is an independent arm of government. And they've already allocated an amount of money for the work of the Commission. And we do also have support from international agencies. We are in dialogue with quite a number of them, and you must recognize that we are only, 4 weeks old. The dialogue continues. We continue to receive requests for meetings and to see how best they can support the work of the Commission. And that is very encouraging. It's something we really welcome. It shows that it's not only Gambians that are interested in this process. Even external agencies, external institutions, they are keen to see us get to where we want to get as a nation and as a people. So I do not think the mere fact that the government or the National Assembly allocates funds for the work of the Commission means that our independence is questionable. Rather, no. The independence of the Commission is catered for in the CRC Act. If you look at there is a specific section which makes it very clear that in the conduct of its duties, the CRC is not answerable to any person or any authority. So that is where the independence is. And I can assure you that we have men and women of invaluable integrity who will ensure that that level of independence is kept.
My Lord Justice Jallo, members of the Commission, members of the media fraternity, I would like to thank you very much for coming to our first press conference. And I believe that as we move to entrench the Gambia's future through constitutionalism, you will be our partners in progress. Thank you for coming.
All right. Well, it was an interesting press conference with so many questions from the press. And Justice Suleiman Jallow has indeed assured the people that there is going to be financial independence for the commission, and they would try to make sure that each and every individual would take part in this constitutional review. By doing so, they're going to reach out to NGOs and also create a website that people can always have access to find out what is going on. Well, that was all we had for you from the Kerr Fatou. See you next time.